Welcome to Change the Future strategy meeting. It's the 15th of November this time, because it's a Sunday, not a Wednesday this time. And that man's taking the minutes.
I'm taking minutes. I'm Jem. I'll be taking minutes today. So everybody, I'm a bit unwell, which is why I sound weird and nasal. But you don't mind, do you? Because you're just a webcam.
That's Sarah Hopkins.
Hello.
Yeah, fancy facilitating, which just means just making sure we get through the Jem. Just making sure we get through this thing. Ah, good. We're just having some technical issues. Nice. Let's go for this monitor because it'll be nice, I think. Then we can look at our faces while we like looking at our face. Okay, ready?
I don't like
Come
it.
on.
I don't like it.
You're not going to get used to it not being in it.
Cool. Yeah. Facilitator probably needs to. Oh wait, yeah. Should we have this up twice then? So, can you press escape?
Yep.
Oh, now press escape. Okay. Let's get this up twice, and then you can see the agenda, which will be useful if you're going to take us through it. You're telefacilitating.
Just read it now.
Wait, I think we just deleted everything in the agenda. Can you just
Control Z?
Just keep Control Zing until. Wait, let's try it in this one. Okay, yeah, okay. Stop. No, keep going. Good. Oh, what? There's no agenda, mate.
Where was it?
I think when you were
The title
just.
of this document is called "Luke will delete this." We don't look particularly.
Oh yeah, wait, it's the wrong one. Wait, that's the wrong one. Ah.
I have to say, this isn't what I was expecting when I saw Luke all set up here.
I think just not the keyboard bashing at the beginning, I think, but also
What's
mostly.
wrong with that?
Okay, that's the agenda.
You think twice.
Don't press
before
anything.
appointing me as minute taker next time.
Okay, that's the agenda, and
So
here's the minutes. Happy?
I am, yeah.
Sick.
We could always start again.
Because it's already started.
So what? Do you
This
just want
is
me to read out the agenda?
So yeah, we just work through these things, and if we can finish by like 9 would be cool. I mean, no, 9:30 would be good.
So I'm just keeping an eye on time.
And just taking us through these, just leading us through these things.
Okay. So
yeah. So we've appointed facilitator and minute taker.
yeah. What does that
So
mean? Would they like
welcome
feedback?
everyone. Just if either people, we just put that in just for people who wanted to develop their skills as facilitator or minute taker, just to, if they want to invite feedback on it.
Okay.
I'd love feedback on my minute. Yeah, I like typing. I also like contributing. So I'll be trying to do both.
Great. And then, are there any additions to the agenda? No. Okay.
But welcome everyone present. Oh, individually. That is like, who are you?
Hi, I'm Sarah.
I am Jem.
And I'm Luke. I'm a core team member, like well involved in the project and co-founded it yonks ago. And so
Yeah, I'm very new. It's my first meeting.
Nice.
yes, Wall of Ideas, I think, was when you got well involved at TEDx the second time.
Oh, okay. That month ago.
Okay.
Yeah, well, actually, I think it was only 2 weeks ago. Yeah, wasn't very long ago, wasn't it? Yeah.
I've been involved for knocking on a year, I think. I've taken a step back recently because I have loads of other stuff to do in my life. But I had nothing on this evening, so I thought I should come along. Here I am.
Hooray!
Marvellous.
Okay, so the art of hosting event in 3 days.
It is. You're coming.
I'm coming.
Yep.
You're going.
I'm going, and Greg is going, and his transport's all booked and his tickets booked and stuff. And then
But it was, but you're not going now, Jen.
I don't
there
know.
wasn't space
for me.
was it? I don't think for you.
For whatever reason, just didn't quite happen.
Just I think about a day too late to book. I think.
Yeah, I remember registering and then thinking.
What do you mean registering?
So I followed the links, and then it was like, art posting, register here.
Okay.
And then I didn't have to pay anything, and I was like, I wonder if I've done the
Oh.
right thing. And then I gave a bunch of reasons as to like why I wanted to take part in the art posting event. And
So did they send you an email saying how to pay by check and stuff?
nope. No,
You must have gone under the radar. I think I then took your place, and now I feel really bad.
no, I don't think that's what happened. That would be an interesting assumption. Why would you take my place?
Because I was told I got the last place.
Yeah, perfect.
But you would have got that. That should have gone to you, really.
Applied earlier. I think you got your place, and I applied too late.
Oh, really? Okay.
I think
Also, just good.
yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Well, I was going to say,
Absolutely fine.
if you really, really want to go,
We're going to go, and it's going to be great.
Yeah.
okay.
And
All
Jen's
right,
going to
for
enjoy it.
sure.
And I'm going to stay here, and it's going to be great.
Okay, cool. Okay.
Thanks anyway. So
Sorry.
appreciate it.
Okay.
But so only thing on that is just art of hosting for anyone who doesn't know, who might be looking at this. It is like a residential training for anyone who's interested as individuals or coming from a project in how to host conversations. So creating, I suppose, mainly physical spaces for people to come together to, from a sort of local area, I guess. Like there's a sort of local element to it. It's not like bringing people together sort of globally, I don't feel like as much, but it'll be interesting to see. So yeah, locally bringing really quite diverse people together. That feels like a focus of theirs. It's like keep it diverse, not just like techie teenage males or whatever. So yeah, how do you get those people together? How do you get them to enjoy it and listen to each other, and mostly sort of explore what their community could be like, what they dream of in their community, and how to keep a tight community of people talking together and doing something about it. I guess that's art of posting, isn't it? Okay. So we're going there in Hampshire for like 3 days, 2 nights, 2 days.
Yeah.
What's happening? ChangeTheFuture paid some of that, and yeah, it'll be 3 of us. So there was 5 interested and 3 actually going. Yeah, it was a bit last minute. I think it's worth noting. I think that was something that I would like to get in the minutes about it. Is that yeah, I'd really like to have a record of your proposal, which came really late in the day, but I'm glad it came because I personally, totally cool, some people felt differently, but I think that works quite well, that like you choose how much reimbursement you want, up to 75%, because then I think the person books and pays something, which is like a bit of a kind of commitment thing, and then but you're mostly sort of supported financially. I think that would be cool in future. But I reckon we should have I think I'll propose at some point that we have like a default practice of paying 75% of the event and 75% of the transport. I think
that's quite good.
Well,
seems quite sensible. Yeah, I mean, like you could go up to 100%, but it's good to recognise that it's not just free. I'm not sure if there's any.
You have to really want to go, I think.
Yeah.
But then I think at the same time you need to be open, because there might be exceptions of people that genuinely really want to go, but for one reason or another, maybe as a one-off, can't afford to pay anything. So I think you need to keep that in mind.
Yeah. Flexibility.
Maybe,
maybe it's just a recommended token 25%.
Yeah.
Optional 100. Use discretion.
But then but then I wonder if like, I don't know if this is simpler or more complicated, genuinely, but what if I was completely skint and couldn't even pay like a 10, 15 quid, or like it's quite an expensive event and I couldn't pay like 60 quid or whatever, but couldn't I just ask someone in ChangeTheFuture who's going to just ask for 75% when they don't need that much or anything, and then just give me the money?
But that entails the person knowing and trusting someone and feeling able to ask for it.
So,
So,
like,
for example,
yeah.
I, as someone brand
It's a bit
new,
of a hack,
wouldn't have
isn't it?
felt comfortable
Yeah.
asking anyone.
Yeah,
so I
yeah.
either would have said that
Yeah.
I couldn't go when I could and wanted to. You know, I don't know.
Yeah,
It depends, doesn't it?
yeah, it's a bit of a sort of hacking the system a bit, isn't it? It's not really designed for it, but it's a workaround, which is a bit ballsy. Yeah, I guess just sort of, yeah, do say like a kind of invitation for people to say if they really want to come and they can't for 75%. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I think that just felt like better than what we began with. That sort of just rather than having a sum of money that's pre-allocated, nice as that feels in a way, because it's sort of very easy to know how much it is from a Change the Future budget point of view. It's like we prioritise Change the Future knowing how much it was allocating over the individuals in the project, which is always more important, I think.
Yeah.
The people in the project actually knowing, because otherwise the goalposts change. Loads of people come and then suddenly it's only like 50 quid going towards your fees, and you're like, oh, now I have to drop out. And
that's how I felt, because I thought, well, me suddenly coming in is taking money away from other people, which isn't right. Which isn't right. So
yeah. And the Asher Centre does something similar as well. They,
yeah, it's true.
They pay 75% of your 80% of your transport, and
the courses are free as well. So if you come from Greece and your flight is £300, you pay, or €300, you pay €60. And they reimburse the rest. And if you come from Brighton and your train ticket is £60, then you pay 12.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Yeah, that's good. Cool.
It's funded differently though. I think the Asher Centre has a lot more funding from the European Commission, whereas Change the Future is private funding, I guess, or like project funding. It's smaller scale.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so I guess just an invitation quickly, just to conclude that, or like last thing I want to say about that is just, yeah, obviously thanks to Change the Future as a group of people for funding us, and yeah, just let us know if there's anything particular that you want. Otherwise, an idea we'd thought about of how we could bring value back to Change the Future is just doing a short little video, like at the end of each day, or maybe like just 2 1-minute videos throughout the day, or just something that's very easy, very like fresh, and it's in our heads, like what questions are turning over in our head, or what things we learned. It might be quite nice for us, but yeah, just to kind of share that, and I can help get that stored in an organized way, like in our Google Drive or whatever. But yeah, just something simple like that. I don't think I don't feel like anyone's asking us to sort of write a thesis about it or anything, but yeah, it'd be great if we can experiment a bit with how can we share the value that's come out of this for us.
Absolutely. Cool. So is that point all?
Yeah, I'd love
good?
to know about it. If you want to do end of the day, then that's great. But I think it would be great just to sort of feedback maybe afterwards. I feel like if you're there and you're reflecting on it, maybe that takes away from you being able to be present at the event. But I think just play it by ear.
I think if it becomes a conversation, definitely. If you don't want it to, sometimes you do, but I feel like I might just be like, I don't feel like it would cost me anything personally to just share what's happening in here at a camera, for example, for like just only 1 minute. Just where I'm at, how I'm connecting that amazing workshop, hopefully, with like a real world thing in Change the Future, for example, and seeing a relationship there. A sort of shortfall in how we meet or talk or something. And yeah, I'm just wondering if we could do this aspect. But yeah, no conclusions, not necessarily a discussion if it's not really wanted, but just a mind dump sort of while it's really fresh. Because there might be something else that's really like replaces a lot of that, you know, later in the day or the next morning or something.
But yeah, maybe we could have like a catch up afterwards as well. Sometimes it takes a while mulling time, doesn't it? And then a couple of days later, things maybe fit into place a bit better than when you're feeling a bit. Yeah,
maybe when we're there, we could see if we want to arrange like a little gathering, a little get together to sort of reflect with you and Alana maybe and stuff.
Be nice.
And others.
Yeah, lovely. All right.
Great.
Proposal accepted.
Okay. So the next thing. Oh.
You can touch it.
Oh yeah.
There's new touch screens.
Why does it keep going down?
Sorry. I didn't know that I was controlling that. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it's the same computer, so it's only got one
But what
focal point.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
What does LHF mean?
That's my initials.
Oh right.
So who's like raising the point?
Okay. So updates on latest developments and any opportunities that people can get involved in. First thing is Greg's map of human experience, which I've only just heard about, but it sounds really cool.
Yeah, I hoped Greg might be here for that, but he ain't. But he said it was inspired a little bit by the Wall of Ideas and by the Wall of Feelings, which was part of Brighton Digital Festival, where people could anonymously text in to a website. Super simple, a sort of personal feeling, something they're feeling. And it went up on the website, but also during Brighton Digital Festival, it went on the massive advertising television screen, like above the departure boards in the train station. Cool. So there's photos of quite dark, pretty sometimes pretty messed up things on there about people's quite scary fears and insecurities and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, this will be quite different. And yeah, I don't want to sort of try and describe it for Greg too much, but but he's created a Facebook group for it, and he's put his own sort of words in there. So I think he's written about it in the Change the Future workforce group. I mean, I know that it's about feeling invited to share parts of yourself that feel maybe quite dark, and like there's maybe not a part, there's no space maybe you feel like to share those parts of yourself. You don't know how, you don't feel invited, it feels scary. So he wants to create some creative, artistic way for people to share those things.
Yeah.
Do you know what he needs to make it?
He's done a sort of call out for artists and creative people, and really anyone who's interested, and a few people have expressed an interest. And he's got a get together, hasn't he? He organised a get together. Can I check? It'd be really nice if I knew this. That's why it'd be good is here. But yeah, if we look on the, if anyone has interest, here's the group for map of human experience. Yeah, I think it might have been this in a few days. I'm just seeing if I've got it written down anywhere. Was it Wednesday or? I think just look in the group to see where he's suggested meeting in person to discuss it and make plans. I'll get the minutes back up. Shit, where are they? Got way too many tabs open. This one. Yeah, I don't know. He organised a meeting for us to get together. Anyone who's interested and explore it. I think it would be awesome. I'm going to be there.
Interested, yeah.
It sounds great. I don't know if I don't feel particularly artistic or creative. I'm sure I'd be interested in the process of bringing that to life.
He wants a physical space, he was looking at Fabrica, that art gallery in the sort of little cathedral space.
Oh yeah,
that's quite big.
Yeah, nice.
They're actually building like that at the moment to make it bigger.
Oh really?
They're building like not really people know about it, but it's closed at the moment, and they're building an upstairs kind of modern art block thing. So it's going to be bigger and better equipped.
Wow.
It's really cool space there inside.
Like
So nice.
Some great stuff in there.
So is that wrapped up that one? Yeah.
Greg,
human experience. The next one is.
So other sort of updates on those things.
I don't actually know what this Asher Centre and 9 to 12 rate.
Okay, I reckon this might be up your street. We've booked the Asher Centre that we've been talking about.
Yeah.
Place that's pretty incredible. We've been there 3 times for conflict transformation, social entrepreneurship. They do music and community theatre stuff.
Outdoor education. I did a music course there for cultural diversity, which is some of the most interesting courses I've ever done.
Oh,
They're
wow.
free.
It's totally EU funded courses that you
Yeah.
go to for like a week and a half long
Yeah,
things. And you kind of get pampered. Like it's really like quality of life there is pretty high.
Yeah.
You get fed 3 times a day, like amazing, gorgeous food. They mostly grow on the land there.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a nice balance of luxury and wholesome.
Yeah.
It's good.
And who does the training? Is it?
All kinds of groups. They do
Okay.
some stuff sort of in-house, but then they also like 2 of
Bring
our
people in.
new best friends, Alana and Pip, were
Yeah.
co-facilitating the
Yeah.
course from sort of Power of Youth, I guess.
Yeah, from an existing organisation who work in social entrepreneurship. They've done like amazing things in South Africa and Scotland, and Alana's just sort of done courses before at the Asher Centre. I don't know how quite she came across it, but yeah, they just have like a collection, seemingly a catalogue of people who can just run inspiring courses.
Wow.
Yeah, it's good. It's really good.
So what? So
Yeah.
what's happening on the 9th to the 12th? That's
Pretty much just one day I sat with Adrian, one of the people running the place, and was like, God, it'd be awesome to have one of our Change the Future working retreats, which is just when a bunch of us get together to spend like a decent amount of quality time together. Like these meetings are for making decisions and announcements, basically. Then we have our working groups for actually acting on those decisions and building stuff. But they're still just like, you know, a few hours in a cafe or bar.
Yeah.
Working retreats are like all of that together, like quality time we spend with each other, getting to know each other, and explore what we're inspired to do and how we might collaborate, bringing that about. So really like the heart of this project, I think. And so I spoke to Adrian about this, and could possibly maybe the Asher Centre be a place that we could get like 20 of us and stay there for like a few days, and you know, sleep there and break out into the beautiful spaces they've got, and you know, have an epic working retreat there for anything we could vaguely possibly afford. And we've just got this 5 grand in from Seedbed, and we were like, I can't imagine a better thing to spend the money on than just helping people be with each other.
time. Yeah.
Space.
Yeah.
And so yeah,
Well, that I mean, obviously, costs are costs. How much do you think you'll have? How much are you hoping to put aside? For
so it's already completely booked and confirmed. It's the 9th to the 12th of April, and they gave us something like, I think, an 80% reduction in costs from their sort of corporate rate. So we paid £1,000 for 20 people, like sleeping there, fed there, using the breakout spaces.
That's amazing.
So ridiculous. Like, it's such a nice place. That's great. Thank you, Asher Centre. That's amazing.
Does that cover their costs though? Even probably doesn't, does it?
Barely.
Oh. How generous.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I'm really interested how to like give back to them and support them, and really like they're such an asset.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I think also I don't think we've finished sort of the conversations around supporting people getting there, but I think I'll propose if someone else doesn't beat me to something else or whatever. I mean, we can talk about it, but maybe like funding 75% of people's transport there.
Yeah.
That, right, something like that, whatever. Anyway, there'll be, I'm sure, some financial support for getting people to the place in Gloucester.
And so in terms of thinking ahead, which is what could have done a bit better this time with the art posting, how do people say they want to go?
That's a good question. Oh yeah, so I set up a doodle poll, I think, to get more of a temperature check now. Looking back at it in reflection, it was more of a sort of temperature check to see if people were available for it. I feel like with Greg, he's really into involving everyone at the earliest possible stages of communication, which I think I sort of try to do a bit, but I don't think I'm not that good at it. And I sometimes am like, I'll propose something that's easy for people to imagine and get their head around and have an opinion on. But like with the premise that it's sort of made out of clay, it's still malleable. And so like if you don't like it, you can still sort of wind and change it. But yeah, I think I'm appreciating I'm just thinking about Greg because he's so involved and we've had this discussion a bit. I think he's almost like turned off by that approach. Like, oh, you've decided you've got a picture of this thing already in your head. I feel like I've been left behind, sort of thing. That's my perspective of it. And so, yeah, it'd be good to have conversations at an early stage about what we want it to be like there and what we want to do there.
So is it right that there's a meeting about this next Sunday?
Yeah.
Is that right? It's 6:30, the 22nd. I think that's what Greg said on Facebook.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I reckon that's probably right.
Can I just check in? I feel like it doesn't have to be one reason, but why is the working retreat happening?
Just because it's the heart of the project, I think, so people can get together and not feel constrained within some concrete pre-existing vision of change the future, whatever that is, but rather forget that, just go to a place that's inspiring and lovely to be in with other people who definitely are also exploring what they're inspired by and how they can contribute more to that and learn from that more, and just collaborate with other people. Really, change the future is just a word for being transparent and open and collaborative and spending quality time with each other and sharing an educational journey. You could call it anything you want. You could put any logo on it you want. It just happens to be called Change the Future's working retreat. So yeah, it's not about kind of welcome everyone, recruitment process, here's a load of predetermined tasks that some person's come up with. What are you going to take on? It's more like starting from the beginning if you want that. So it's just this place to explore what we're passionate about and what we want to do about it together. Why? Because that's the coolest thing I can imagine doing for a few days.
Yeah, good. Yes. Helps me.
Yeah. Did I answer your question? Or did I go off into a tangent about what was it? Yeah, how people pick. No.
Oh no, how do people say that they're interested?
Oh yeah.
Obviously we don't want the last minute thing of 30 people saying they're interested and they've all sort of been told yes and then they can't all go, or like, I don't know.
So I guess this is at least Change the Future is not going to piss off the Asher Centre because we've already said 20 people, so now it's just our job to get those 20 people.
Is there a Facebook group for the working retreat?
No, I think there should be. Like, at least
sure. I feel like I've seen a banner.
I think there should be an event for that event, and there should also be a group for the people who are particularly interested in shaping working retreats.
Cool.
Because otherwise, that whole conversation, which is going to get increasingly detailed, and most of the people most of that 250 people in the workforce group are not going to be able to physically attend.
Yeah.
And if they're interested in just the process or whatever, they can always just go over to that other Facebook group. But I think, especially if we can just create a way of listing this small handful of Facebook groups we're getting now, so people know what conversations are happening where, then I think it is good to separate them when necessary, but only like not preemptively, but just when the conversations get a bit like posts in this group.
It would be good. Is there a way of having off of the main Change the Future page on Facebook, is there a way of having links to all the subgroups? Can you do it like that, or does it not?
They wouldn't be subgroups, I guess. They would just be other groups because you can't have subgroups inside groups. But I think the closest thing I can think of is the pinned post. You can pin one post permanently to the top of the sort of wall. So you can do it that way, and also in the group description. And another cunning thing is the like group cover picture as well. Can be like an image that sort of says, you know, like, you are here, the other groups we have are these.
That would be good,
kind of like, oh, well, I can't show you because it's better to have two keyboards, isn't it? I don't even know if this is really worth showing, but yeah, I'll do it. So we've got one group for sort of like geeky tech stuff, which Alex PB and Tam and people use quite a lot. Yeah, and see this picture that sort of says, you are here.
Oh yeah. That's cool.
Although that's a little bit outdated because we've switched to Lumio now. for decision making, because it's just a bit less complex, less buttons than those ones.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so that's ongoing. And then what?
Yeah. Oh, should we have an action point out of it though? Sorry.
Yeah.
I also feel like we didn't quite answer the question. Like, hey, if people want to come to work retreat, how do they let us know?
For me, this is so good to like definitely make sure we've got an action point out of anything we need to. So I'm happy to take on the creating of a Facebook group and event for the Asher Centre, and yeah, I can, you know, unless someone else fancies taking on that role. Do either of you fancy taking on the role of signing up to the Asher Centre? You gonna come?
What? Signing up? That's not
like signing people up. So having a list of who's definitely coming.
Oh, I see.
Don't take it on if you don't. Fancy
I'm not very. I don't know really how Facebook works.
Cool.
Well, I could learn. That is an option, which I'm happy to take. But if it's the difference between me spending a while versus you spending 1 minute,
it's nice. It's a nice invite. I feel like, but I feel like if you've just gone, oh, that's a good idea, you're inevitably going to lead someone else doing it. Like if someone else takes it on, such as Sarah or myself,
I guess, yeah. So I suppose
you're going to have to help us to know what it is, because it sounds to me like you immediately have a vision for what it could look like.
I could definitely bounce an idea. I mean, probably the reality of that is if one of you took it on, I'd probably just bounce ideas with you for 5 minutes about just a really simple, easy, transparent way of recording who's actually going. You know, so people would click going on the Facebook event, but you would maybe have like a separate list for people who've actually proven to you that they've booked their transport, and that would be the actual way of officially, you know, going. Because 1,000 people could just click going and they're not actually really committed. So yeah, if they can sort of just show they've booked their transport for it, then that's kind of a way of demonstrating it. Or said, I don't have any money, can you book the transport? And then you do, and then there's an exception there. But I think, yeah, there's just clearly a role of some sort there, a small one, but one that just to make sure that sort of happens and we don't arrive with 3 people at the Asher Centre.
Yeah. Okay, so who's going to do that role? I don't have a burning desire, to be honest, and I'm a little bit tentative just because I am brand new. Yeah, and I feel like I would just do something and then you'd give me really helpful feedback, but it would just be maybe better, quicker, possibly for you to do it. I don't know.
Yeah, cool.
I'm happy to help you with doing it, but I feel like it would be a bit silly.
I will always do this, and it's not. I will always. Just because I'm doing so many little roles like this in the project, but it's really important that to me that isn't taken like, oh my god, wasn't people just like help with more things? Like, it's not like that. It's just I want to make sure there's always like an awareness of like, I'm not going to be able to do as good a job. Increasingly more the amount of things I take on, I'm going to do a worse job of them, which sort of feels a bit bad because I'll do things like dates. I like messed up the dates, so I forgot this was happening tonight, and the working retreat conversation with Greg, and like I will do that more. The sort of more things I have on, but this is fine. I can take this thing off.
Is this something that Greg wants to do? What's Greg's role in working retreat?
Yes, I believe he's coming because he wanted it to. I think April worked.
Because is there already a subcommittee for the working retreat? Because it would make sense for somebody who's on that.
Informally, I don't feel like it's kind of there's a clear way. Like I haven't seen like a sort of list or anything like that for who's in that committee.
I'd like to help you organise the logistics essentially.
I mean, this is what if
you're going to take it on, and I don't feel able to. The only way that I'm going to feel able to is if I help you, and then at least I can sort of learn a bit.
I think there's massive opportunity in like planning it. Because that would be so fun, man. Like we can do anything at this event. We've got an amazing space, 20 inspiring people, half of whom are mates of ours, half of whom are like quite new people potentially.
Yeah.
Total freedom. Like we could just sing and dance for like 3-4 days, or just share stories or play games, like whatever we want to do. I think I'm quite keen on it being sort of quite like right at the beginning, just dedicating a permanent bit of wall space, maybe, to just people putting ideas for workshops on there, and maybe some will happen before the event even, so you can think ahead. But basically it's sort of mostly open space kind of structure, or maybe 2/3 of each day or something could be this open space thing where we just go, you know, you can have like stickers and sign up to the thing you're most interested in, and then you run a workshop on non-violent communication, and everyone is like, yeah, there's obviously a lot of interest in that, so then you just people walk with their feet to the thing that's offered all the time. I think that sounds, that sounds but yeah, so it might be just good, that might be the main useful thing about creating a Facebook group for organising the working retreat, might just be having almost just that list of names just to know who's actually actively interested in being involved in making it happen.
So initially, first step of creating that group, are you going to do that?
I'll create the group, and unless somebody else is like genuinely happy to take over the role, I will be the person who gets the sign up list of who's coming to the working retreat at the Asher Centre.
Okay, I think I'd be happy with that, but also second, Gems, I will help in any way that is helpful.
Cool.
Yeah, I think more heads, because if I design it, I'm going to miss things. If you design it, you're going to miss things. If you design it, you're going to
we're not going to have paid if I design it.
well, that's unlikely, but yeah.
Yeah, I might just go, I've signed 3 people have definitely confirmed. I've just put them in a list here. And then one of you might just go, yeah, actually, I'm pretty happy to take that over.
Yeah.
Or not, or maybe someone else will. Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Bosh.
Cool.
We haven't got much more to do, really.
No? Happy for me to move on?
Yeah,
okay. Collab camp. I also don't know what that is. Question mark event.
You will do soon.
Handing over to you, Luke.
Oh, me? Is this me?
Well, I don't. It says NH. What's the H for? Luke something. Hillary. How cool.
I would just put LF, and then my brother's called Leon Flegg, and my cousin's called Lucy Flegg. So not that she's very involved, but
yeah.
The flag fact through there.
No, just that's why it's the LHF. See.
LHF.
Okay. Keat.
So you could do
that's the necessity for the 3 initials.
Yeah.
But yeah, Hillary is for some reason my grandmother's name. So
that's really lovely. I like that idea of your middle name meaning something. I like that.
Yeah, it's good. I think it's a good one.
So what is Collab Camp?
Collab Camp is it sounds like a brand or an organisation or a project. It's kind of actively trying not to be. It's more an ethos, it's an approach that they've chosen to just give a name to, just so that other people can self-organise their own ones. So I've been to 1 collab camp before. I went with Charlie Shred and Alex PB, and it was in Paris, and it came immediately after a big event called We Share Fest, which had couch surfing and Uber and BlaBlaCar and Transition Towns and Democracy OS and all these sort of big disruptive, mostly sort of tech kind of social changey type projects. It's a big event, and it's happening again next year, and I don't know if Collab Camp is going to happen again straight after it, but probably it will. So a couple of days ago, these threads will tie together. A couple of days ago I went to London for a London Futurists meetup event at Bloomberg, and it was very shiny and fun, and it was called State of the Future, and there was a couple of people I met there, one of whom I knew already actually. I think I met with Greg at a different London Futurists event called Anticipating 2040. And anyway, so that was Malik Jabba, and he's been quite visible in the workforce group lately. He's a really interesting, lovely man. And yeah, us two met this other guy called Owen. And so the three of us, after the event in London a couple of days ago, we went to a cafe and we had a very enthused, excited chat about just our interest, our shared interest in bringing people together to explore collaboration and not work in such a kind of isolated, siloed fashion with whatever stuff they're passionate about. So kind of like, because we know what this working retreat idea is that Change the Future does and how open that is and non-prescriptive, but with the sort of focus on collaboration. Like I think this sort of, for me, it felt like this conversation is kind of talking about what in my head is basically like a Change the Future working retreat. But I think there's this risk of kind of being brandy too much, like too much branding. Like, I don't want to go into your project's event. I want to go into a nameless, no logo sort of just as an event
thing that's happening that everyone will benefit from.
It doesn't belong to anyone. Like if it's like
you don't
makes sense, organised it or something, it's easy, I think, whether it's stupid or not, to feel like, oh, this is their thing and I can join their thing. Whereas the idea of collab camp, I feel like, was always that you're not joining someone else's event ever. Like if you they've got Facebook events, for example, and if you look at who's hosting it, you just get a list of all the participants. It's not like Change the Future made this event or Make Sense made this event. It's just co-hosted by every participant.
That list that you're talking about is, I feel like, a gauge for the strength of an organisation. Like its ability to collaborate openly is a huge strength, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And so, not to, I don't mean to judge, but if you are openly avoiding collaboration as a company, that doesn't appeal to me. If you're saying that someone is such a strong brand that they won't associate with other brands, then that is it's not appealing to me.
Yeah, like even charities working in Africa that might sort of effectively basically compete with each other to sort of get their logo on a well or like fix some problem and they win.
That's a real example, but it's an example.
It's not, in my experience, not far from reality, to be honest. There is huge competition between charities, particularly ones that work abroad, and it stems from competition for funding. Because when you're writing, I used to write proposals for a charity called Street Child of Sierra Leone, and one of the things I was taught to do was to emphasize how we were different from other charities that were like us. So you are, from the outset, before you even got funding, you're selling yourself to the trusts and foundations you're applying to for your uniqueness and your difference, and saying that you're the only ones able to deliver X, Y, and Z and no one else can.
Wow.
Which is really sad, and part of the reason why I left.
So imagine Change the Future, rather than having to prove itself in competition against other similar projects, which do exist. Like, it's not like we're the only group of people who are exploring like collaboration and bringing diverse groups together to shape their cities, communities, organisations. Imagine we were like, rather than competing with those organisations for the same funding pots, we're instead just concentrating so much on being valuable to all the existing projects that they become increasingly like not even exactly dependent on us, but dependent on us. Actually, they come to depend on us more and more because they're like, these guys are so useful for organising events where we meet the people we thought we needed to compete with. And now realise, fuck, we can collaborate with them instead. And Change the Future is also maybe exploring ways to help us not burn out. Us and our competition, who are increasingly getting a symbiotic relationship with different organisations that used to compete. We have a symbiotic relationship with all of them to the point where they start to work increasingly less against each other in competition, but more in collaboration. Because I believe that even you could get Oxfam and WaterAid sharing. I bet I could go in there tomorrow, and if I'd spent long enough in there and I asked enough questions and I could get some of them answered, I bet sooner or later I could find some opportunities for actually, here's a low risk little way you could share a useful bit of information or research with that charity, and in return they'll share this with you, build a little bit of trust, and then share something a little bit bigger. What have you found out? You're doing this report, which is really valuable. Like, it will get seen by more people if they share it on their network as well, and that will be useful for you and show that they are really committed to the cause, because they're even circulating reports that other charities are doing. Like, and then and oh yeah, now you don't look like you're fighting each other, you look like you're more interested in actually furthering the vision you're both supposed to be committed to.
Good.
Yeah.
Very inspirational. Thank you. It's good. It's succinct. It's just my only comment on that is there are so many things that tie into Change the Future. It would be great to feel like there was a vision, because I feel like it is versatile. It is so many things. It can be collaboration with organizations that are doing similar things, and it can be all manner of other stuff. I just don't know where to put my efforts, essentially, because it is so many things. I'm like, which bit do I start with, and how do I not get distracted? That would be my feedback on that. Like, I love the ideas that come up in these moments, and whether they have action points or not, they always make me feel like something good. Hello. Something good is happening or can happen soon. Yeah, it's just knowing where to put my efforts. Really.
And this is what I think, like, immediately I feel compelled to share perspectives, and I don't think it's the right space for it, because like, I think we could really have a conversation that could feel really beautiful, that comes out of that, just beyond valid, like urgent, totally core question that of course you have, and other people will have it as well, and maybe haven't even recognized it in themselves, but they're probably those 190 people in the Facebook group who are just lurking and don't know how to engage, have that question, maybe haven't articulated it as well as you have, or they have a slightly different way in on that question. So yeah, I think this is what the working retreat is for, man, to explore those questions together, and certainly not for Luke to say what the answer is, but maybe for Luke to share a perspective, and then other people to be like, I half resonate with that and half feel something different, and then that is the vision that we, you know, the ship is not steered solely by me.
I'm thinking I just sort of following the train of thought in my head. Change the Future it's so all-encompassing that it, by definition, it can't say no to an idea. But it also, the individuals involved have to say yes or no to the right ideas.
I think the group can, because it was formed, this is the difference between like the People's Republic of Brighton and Hove, is that's a group that got massive take-up, like thousands of people, even if they're mostly in a Facebook group. You know, they have like meetups and stuff in person, open space meetups and stuff, but essentially they were mainly at their core a Facebook group, shit tons of members, and no structure at all, like decision-making structure, for example. We do have a decision-making structure, even if there's very little engagement of it. It was proposed, you know, in a way that the people who were most committed to the project and cared and actually like put any amount of time in, basically, did express a view. There was no blocks. We tried one way of making decisions, we tried other ways, we tweaked it loads together, ideas from all different people. And so we are actually able to make decisions. So if there was like, if like Adolf Hitler came into Change the Future and was like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this rubbish idea and call it Change the Future, like actually the group does have a mechanism to say that isn't in our name.
Yeah. So absolutely.
Yeah.
I think what I mean is that anyone has the ability to propose an idea.
Okay, yeah.
And then it's up to the rest of the individuals, like as a brand, if you like. Change the Future doesn't say no, but it is then up to the people involved to vote it yes or no.
Sure, okay. Yeah.
Like
Yeah, it doesn't have a concrete scope of activities.
Yeah, you approach
Yeah.
Greenpeace and you say, "We're thinking of setting up an oil rig." They go, "No," like before anyone's even.
Okay, I see what you mean.
No, I mean, like, whereas Change the Future, it's just.
I feel like we
open to all
could
ideas. And then
change that if we wanted to. We have the mechanism in place that has the capability. I would say, I think that we could change that if we decided together that we wanted to have a constitution so specific. It said we will not support, incubate, internally allow any sort of projects that are exclusive or don't create. There's something I put in there actually. It's like black and white, kind of like automatic blocks. I think.
Yeah.
A project that is basically imposed on a community and doesn't do anything to involve the people affected by the project. Let's say the wall of ideas. I think if that affects people, but doesn't do anything to actively involve the people it's affecting in shaping how it works. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's like we block a street off to do some event or something, but we don't actively seek to involve the people whose lives we're affecting in that street for that day. Like, I feel like that could be a sort of black and white no. Anything that has the intention to harm or undermine any efforts of people,
or even just exclude. Through not involving.
I think we could find. I mean, Rob Carney about 2 years ago, year and a half ago, started writing a constitution, a draft constitution for Change the Future, which he floated out. Which started off with really obvious stuff like we are supporting people and projects to work in a more transparent way, more openly and collaboratively, less isolated and siloed. So they share what they're doing, how they're doing it, and why they're doing it. Organisations today do not do that. We want to help them do that. There's a million ways we can help them. The first way is ask them instead of impose shit on them. This sort of thing, but then he went into quite a lot of stuff. But yeah, that's still half written, that constitution. It's hard, I think, for a group of people to co-author a document, and it's something that I've been exploring a bit, but working with tricks.
I would be more interested, rather than a constitution, in like a prediction of what Change the Future would like to affect. Like I would personally, I prefer like a sort of 5, 10, 100 year vision plan for just what we would like to see in humanity.
Imagine the working retreat, we did an exercise for like 2 hours that was just like work on your own, or maybe in pairs, whatever you want. Suggest on your own. Just draw a picture, even if you're the world shit aside, just draw a picture of something you see 2 years from now, or like maybe put a date on it, whatever date you want. Sometime in the future of like what you would love Change the Future, or maybe one project inside Change the Future to really focus on bringing about, making this picture come to life. Draw it, and let's put them all on the wall together.
Things for another time, but just quick. So that's great. Did we answer the question, the agenda, colour camp event?
Nice.
Now I feel like we're getting into danger of like rambling, tangents, that kind of thing.
I think that happens when there's just so much like in a head or a heart that needs to be said and wants to be shared.
Yeah, that's kind of.
And there's just not a space for it.
It's just part of it,
isn't it?
But this is where working retreat would be perfect, because then there's not the time limit in the same way.
And it's kind of, even working retreats need to be chaired and focused, because otherwise they can really lose structure. Yeah.
Tangents sometimes are very revealing though. I think you have to allow space for them, but definitely
it's
have.
a delicate art.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, that was brilliant. We could have been much stricter. We could have just been like, oh no, we're getting off topic, but like some great stuff come out of that tangent. It's just then implementing it and making sure that we don't just tangent, Nautilus shell.
And go off on the same tangents all the time and never finish any of them. That's Repetition of tangents. Avoid repetition of tangents. Yeah.
Cool. So what was the collab camp event? And
Sorry, yeah, me and Owen and Malik got together a couple of days ago and we're like, my God, let's get together in this way, really open and collaborative, invite everyone who's interested and let's fucking explore. We're doing the same thing. We didn't know each other yesterday. How can we like share more?
Yeah.
Who was there?
Simple.
Luke,
Malik and Owen.
Is that how you spell Malik?
EMALEK. And so yeah, I was like, is this a Change the Future working retreat or what is this? I told them about the Asher Centre. They were like, that sounds awesome. They may well come to that. But then we were like, it would be nice to do something much sooner. I would love to do something sooner. I'd be disappointed if we didn't do something sooner than April. I want to get together like basically every month. It doesn't have to be like a massive deal, like a kind of spend £1,000 splitting out a like super shiny venue. I think it would be good if a bit of effort went into it, and it was. We've had 2 working retreats already in the past, right?
Okay.
Second one was only about 4 months ago. We planned for it to be in London, and Tam helped loads with that, and Jocelyn and other people. But it was just too short notice and too complex and expensive to make happen in London, and it's like just not the space for it and stuff. So we had it here instead, and it was like it was just a bit too familiar here, and like there's no beds, and people stayed at my house, and it was cool. I'm glad it happened, but I think I'd like to do something a bit more in advance and something that's. But I want to have something way sooner than April. So that's what this point is really about. It's not. It doesn't have to be called collab camp. I just wanted to weave this conversation in with raising awareness that, as far as I see it, this is collab camp. It's just people getting together with as little frame as possible while people still know what they're turning up to. It's just exploring collaboration together. How can we help each other more?
I think they would potentially need to be in the same place, just to make it
Collab camps?
No, monthly get-togethers.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah, like it would be beneficial if they were like strategy meeting often is here, but can be elsewhere. I feel like it would be good to have working retreats in one venue repetitively, and then they have the option to move elsewhere rather than always worrying about like where it's going to be, and then that becomes like another concern. Just like delete that concern and have it concrete.
Just floating a wacky idea just right off the back of that. What do we think of just the idea of talking to Charlie Shred's mum, whose house we had the first working retreat ever in? There were about 10 of us, 12 of us, and it was just beautiful because she runs a bed and breakfast. So there's loads of beds there. It's quite a big, nice house. Alison. It's in beautiful Devon countryside. Yeah, it's like a shop just around the corner and a big kitchen, and like I know Charlie's sort of expressed feelings to me before. I'd like to hear more from Alison, but I think, you know, since Charlie's left and stuff, I think I'm sure while she also likes her space as well, I think there's something she likes about having people around, like it's what Charlie has kind of said, and I don't want to put much in that, but I'm just saying there might be an opportunity there where, especially if Change the Future can cover some costs, like a few quid for each person. You know, we could have a really good value, really beautiful place that's easy to organise if we had it possibly every month. For like 3 days or something. Because I
wouldn't be able to commit that.
But I mean, even if people came to 1 in 5 of them, like that's so what? Like whoever just comes. I wouldn't even mind if there was a working retreat every weekend and then I just came to whichever ones I can make.
That feels like you're taking the value out of it. To me, I feel like it becomes less important if it's doesn't matter who turns up. I know what you mean. It's like it's nice to know that something's going on and I can go if I want to, but if it's that relaxed or maybe unessential that you need to be there, then why go at all? Maybe
we're looking at it the wrong way around, because like you would have events for however many people actually can come, well, actually want to come. So if we got to the point where, you know, we had one a month and then they were like potentially even oversubscribed, then maybe we'd have two a month. But like,
Yeah,
maybe
I
we're
think-
thinking about it
My question was going to be like, is there a need for one every weekend or every month?
definitely not yet. Well, maybe
No.
once a month then.
But I think go with the need. Like if people are like, these need to happen monthly, you maybe believe that they do. But if everyone else is like, no, 6 months or 3 months or even once a year or bi-weekly, it's just like, we need more opinions.
Yeah, and also I want to really recognise Greg and other people's interest in working retreat committee stuff. Committee just being literally just a group of people who've expressed an interest already in the vision and organising of working retreats. And I don't mind floating a not even a proposal, just bouncing an idea. But yeah, I want to catch myself fast forward a lot because I want to like hold something.
It's called Change the Future. It's very difficult to. It'd be great to look at the past. Not that we can change it, but to sort of see what happened. And at the last working retreat, people go, these need to happen more often. Also, we're at an hour. I feel like we should maybe round up.
Yeah.
The broadcast.
I'll just put this link in. That's it for here, isn't it? That's everything. I'll move this over there. Okay, you can type again. This is a document I wrote up to sort of reflect on what we did. It literally says what happened. If you write something now, I can embed the link in. Just for reference. I think this is I don't think we even wrote a report on the second one actually. I just did this one. But the report feels too formal. Like I didn't know what to call it. It's like a sort of what it was like. I think the idea was that, you know, we're trying to be as open and collaborative as possible and transparent. So this is a public document anyone can find on Google, and they can just see. So what did they do? They did a. This is the sort of initial thing that they posted out about it, so people knew what was going on. That's worth looking at. Program for the weekend, interesting. So this is the first thing we did on day one. There's like our aims for Change the Future and personal aims as well, how they sort of relate to the project aims. Then there's a whole folder full of media here, like photos and videos of the working retreat.
So we can find that online if you want to have a look.
Yeah.
Okay. Just one last thing. Just what's the actual difference between working retreat and collab camp?
Undo.
Is it not a similar?
Okay. The difference between working retreat and collab camp, potentially nothing.
Okay. Because that could get confusing.
There is definitely a distinction between the two. Just like, yes, potentially nothing, but that is not true right now. They are different things. Yeah. Okay.
So right now, how are they different? You know.
Yeah. So Change the Future is a project, isn't it? It is a community.
Yeah.
And collab camp is kind of a community, I guess, but it's in reality, because they've already had collab camps, I think twice. They're the first ones in Amsterdam, I think. Maybe they've had 3, but they have been historically more for the benefit of outside the collab camp community.
Okay.
You know what I mean? They're kind of being like, we're going to create a container and fill it with total randomers as much as possible. They probably did know or indirectly know most of the people who went there, but they were like, there wasn't like a sort of like collab camp is just event spaces, it's just gatherings. Change the Future is more than gatherings.
Yes, okay, I understand.
So we get together, and of course part of what we're interested in is Change the Future, you understand.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool, thank you. Yeah. That's clever.
So yeah, that's a good point actually, I guess. Does that mean that Change the Future shouldn't try to create events that are equally for other projects as well as Change the Future to be in? Will that feel like those projects are joining our thing? if we have like activities at that event that are to do with.
I think, yeah, we need to be clear on what's the purpose, like why are we involved in different things, and what are we trying to bring to it and take from it. What, I don't know, just in case things get a bit confused.
I think if we, and when I say we, I mean individuals not wearing a Change the Future hat, want to organise a collab camp thing, then we as individual humans would almost invite Change the Future.
Yeah.
Just like we'd invite any other project there. Like really anyone has inherent, what's the word, like intrinsic sort of permission to wear the collab camp hat and say, here's a space, you're invited, I'm collab camp person today, you're invited there. Like there's no, like they actively want that. Like that's how they're infinitely open in that way. Like there's zero sort of ownership kind of. I mean, there's people who are kind of make you an admin of their Facebook group or give you the password for changing things on the website or whatever. So there's sort of, I suppose, tiny little power things like that that they'll just share as soon as you ask for it, pretty much, basically, because there's so much trust weaved into the openness. Yeah, it's a good point. I think I'd like to have a couple of collab camps and like mini ones, and then a working retreat or whatever. Either.
I would like to bring up the point that in that situation it could work really well that like everyone owns the space, and it could also be ownerless because people are they're turning up to an event that doesn't have like a host company, and so it will take some getting used to if it even works at all. People might be like, who invited me? Why am I here? Oh, I invited myself, but you're here as well. And who's hosting? If it's an event, maybe it's just like a get together and a socialize.
This conversation we're having now is so important for collab camp to open this conversation up, because they really want the idea to be stolen. They want like Daniel actually wrote a post. I almost want to bring it up because I asked him, like, Daniel, you've been involved in collab camp since the very beginning. Like, do you feel like this conversation that we've been having, me and Owen and Malik, about this sort of event we want to do really soon, probably a small, easy, quick thing, not like big framework sort of change the world, just like get a bunch of us fucking together and then see if we want to grow it. Is that a collab camp, do you think? And he's like, I'm so excited, this is exactly what collab camp's all about. Just people organising something simple, local. It can be really frequent. It doesn't have to be like a big annual event in Paris. Like, just distributed, like Occupy. You know, like no one got permission to do Occupy.
Minimum. That's what I'm thinking. It's like, what is the bare minimum to run a collab camp?
Yeah, like 3 people.
Getting 3 people in one place.
Yeah.
That's what they need as a thing. Like, what's the minimum requirements for your event to qualify as a collab camp? Boom. I think to be honest, I would be surprised if they haven't at least got a half-baked version of that.
Yeah.
I would assume, I'm almost certain that it will include, you have to invite anyone, even if you don't like their projects or whatever there, as long as they express an interest in open, transparent collaboration, they're invited. It has to be free. In fact, their website says this. They've got a collab camp website. We could look at as well. It's got to be free. And I think they're quite long. I don't know if they have a rule about how long it is, but it's definitely more than like an afternoon. Like they've always been sort of 3 days at least. And you have to record. I believe you have to record some evidence of what happened and share that. We talked about this, we built this app or this tool, or we designed a sort of decision-making process for small groups or something, or like we wrote up an idea for how organisations could be more inclusive to deaf people. Here it is. Yeah. And also, like, it went into the collab camp events list as well. That's probably a minimum requirement, like a kind of events page or something.
So anyone can sign up to if they want to. Sort of thing. Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of the benefit of having a shared name, isn't it? Rather than calling it Get Together Weekend.
So would it even be Change the Future though? It wouldn't, would it? People from Change the Future might go, but it wouldn't actually be a Change the Future event at all.
Yeah.
Would it?
I'm gonna call it because I feel like this is philosophy at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, there's so many voices that would be great to have in this conversation, like Daniel Harris and Malik and Owen and Greg as well.
So I think we put this on next week's agenda.
Yeah.
Which is Wednesday.
Well, the working retreat discussion, I think.
Maybe it can come up there. I feel like there's more important things to get involved with the working retreat. Nail down that before. This could be like a if we've got time.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Anyway.
Just to keep things separate. Like this came up.
Wow.
In,
10. Oh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Stop podcast.
Yeah. Cool.
Bye everybody.
Bye.